Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Friday. It's December 8th. It is 2023. We have 13 basketball games to talk about here on today's podcast, joined by my good buddy Will Priester, ChiefJustice06. Chief, we got in-season basketball tournament going on. Pacers advancing to the finals over the Bucks, and the Lakers up by 11 here with 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. We got Thursday night football. Game's actually not been as bad as I thought it was going to be, which is kind of cool. But I mean, Trubisky is still Mitchell Trubisky. So, how are you doing, my friend?
I don't know after this game is over. Jeez. I mean, it's a bad game. I think that's at the end of the day. I think that's what we can say. It's a bad game, and we are hoping, Stevie, that this game turns around and Steelers playing from behind. Hopefully, they can put a few more points on the board. But weird game for Thursday night football.
Yeah, I had a nice little 3-bet single game parlay hit in the first NBA game. I had Lopez over 9.5 points, Miles Turner over 26.5 points, rebound, assist. I forget who it was, but someone was really passionate about that on the Scores and Odds today, and I took Giannis points. So I had a good first game. Zeke already got his receiving yards, so hit that. I need the Steelers to wake up. Just need the Steelers to wake up. So we'll be rooting for that. We got a lot of basketball to talk about, so we're going to jump right in and get started here with Toronto at Charlotte facing your Hornets. We got a 223.5 total. The Raptors a 4.5 point favorite in this one. On the Raptors side, no real big injuries. On the Charlotte side, we know Ball is still out. Cody Martin is out. Nick Lakina is out. Mark Williams is questionable. We'll start here with Toronto. What do you like here for the Raptors?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's Scotty Barnes time, brother. I love Scotty here. I know that it feels like his larger performances have kind of died down, or at least they seem like it, but they really haven't, Stevie. I mean, he's still 58 the other night, 44 the night before that, 48 the night before that. 42, 50. We're still getting some nice performances in there. This should be a game where Scotty can feast. So I like him a ton. Gary Trent getting 20-something minutes. I actually don't hate that here, believe it or not. At 4,100, I'm willing to roll the dice. Charlotte, defensively, it's ugly. So I don't mind him at all. I don't mind Dennis Schroeder. I know that, I do feel like Scotty has impacted him, but he just had some rough shooting stretches here recently, Stevie. Low 30s, 20% range. Still put up 36 fantasy points on a 27% shooting night against Phoenix. When we start getting performances like that, this is a spot where he could be a little bit more efficient, so I don't hate him as well.
Yeah, I think in the pick'em streets and the prop streets, I think you can look at Jakob Poeltl's rebounding prop in this game, depending on what it comes out at. Charlotte's an awful rebounding team. That gives a bump to Siakam and Barnes as well. Barnes, my favorite play. I'm with you 100%. I think this is a fantastic matchup for Scotty Barnes. I think it's a good matchup for Siakam as well. Going to the Charlotte side, Mark Williams matters. This is a guy that plays 28 minutes most nights, 28 minutes plus most nights. So if he's out, I think we can potentially go back to the well on Nick Richards, but they did price Nick Richards up. So we're not getting 3,700, have 25 fantasy points game, kind of thing. So for me, overall, on the Charlotte side, I think it's looking at some of these mid-tier options to potentially run it back with. I mean, I always think Rozier is in play, but I could see a guy like Gordon Hayward having a good game. He's been shooting a lot more here recently, so I could see him, having a bigger game in this spot. But, I mean, I think we have to respect the fact that, with LaMelo out, Terry Rozier is running the offense, and he's getting a ton of usage.
Yeah, absolutely. He sure is. Miles Bridges still playing big minutes too, Steve. I mean, he's playing 35 minutes a game with upside for more. I just think I wish he was giving us a little bit more upside, but I feel like he's capped at around 40 right now, even with all of those minutes. So I don't hate that. PJ Washington is now priced up to 6K, Stevie. So I'm not as thrilled about him. I don't hate Richards if Williams is out again. Like if he's still getting close to 30 minutes, like he can still grind his way to 30 fantasy points. Like I'm not saying he's going to. I'm saying it's possible at 4,900. He gives me 30. I'm gonna be okay with that. And then of course, like you talked about Rozier. I mean, he's for sure the guy. I mean, we've seen a couple big performances from him back to back in consecutive games. 69 fantasy points against Brooklyn, 46 fantasy points against Minnesota, who's a tough defensive team, by the way, and then went down and dropped 47 fantasy points against Chicago. And it's like you said, Stevie, largely because I mean he's going to be over 20 points tonight with upside for 30. Really good play right now in tournaments for sure.
Going to the other side here, Detroit, or next game, not other side. Detroit at Orlando, 229 total here. The Magic, a 12-point favorite. Injury-wise, for Detroit, Jalen Duren is out. He sprained his ankle. Joe Harris is questionable. Monte Morris is out. Magic, Wendell Carter Jr., Fultz, Harris remain out. Isaac questionable. Jalen Suggs rolled his ankle the other night too. He's questionable for this game. If he's somewhat banged up, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we see them sit, especially with them not playing until Monday. So good spot to give him extra days if his ankle is banged up. Let's go to Detroit first. No Duren here. The Magic like to play big. Is this a spot we're looking at like Bagley or Stewart? It's not necessarily the greatest spot in the world, but what are your thoughts here on Detroit? Is it Wiseman time? So many questions.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't mind one of these, interior big men, Stevie, because they're cheap. But to be quite honest with you, I'm not playing anybody else from this team. I'll play one of the interior big men. That's about it. Like Jaden Ivey, I know like his minutes have come up, but Orlando's just kind of shown us, Stevie, they've been a tough team. I know Washington pushed them a little bit the other day, but like generally speaking, I'm just not targeting Orlando right now, almost with anyone. But I don't mind one of these big men because you're giving them an opportunity to kind of pick up a few more rebounds here and there, possibly pick up a few more shots. I don't hate that. Once again, I don't know how they're going to strategize this thing. Like, will it be Wiseman? Will it be Bagley? It seems like I'm not worried about Stewart. I think Stewart plays. It's one of these other guys, and I don't know who the other guy is going to be.
I think it's Bogdanovich. He has been playing great since coming back. We talked about him on the podcast the other day against Memphis. He's got a price increase to 65, but I mean, he played 32 minutes, had 15 shots, had some assists the other night against Memphis. I think Bogdanovich is still someone you could take some shots on in tournaments, along with the big guys. And just, I mean, there's no right answer. Like, the starter isn't the right answer. It'd be really interesting to see ownership on Detroit bigmen here with no Duren. On the Orlando side, I think Jalen Suggs matters a lot in this game, whether or not he plays or not, because that's just going to open up a couple extra minutes for some of these like wing type guys. I think Franz Wagner, Cole Anthony, Paolo Banchero, all fantastic plays here. I like them even more if Suggs ends up sitting. If Suggs ends up sitting, I wouldn't be shocked if the Magic run out like Gary Harris for 30+ minutes in this game at 4,900. It's not the sexiest play. I think Anthony Black or Joe Ingles would get extra minutes. It's tough to figure out. I would assume that it's probably Black. What are your thoughts on the Magic?
Yeah, I definitely think Gary Harris gets the biggest bump in terms of minutes. Gary Harris probably, if Suggs is out, I think Gary Harris for sure plays 30 minutes here. And then it's just who does it impact in terms of the higher usage guys? Anthony, Franz, Paula, I'm with you on those guys. Franz was a guy the other night, Stevie. I snuck in a tournament late, man. I mean, the man dropped 52, and he's actually been pretty consistent here recently and putting up nice fantasy performances. So I don't hate him at all. But yeah, I think for me, I wouldn't mind playing Gary Harris with the minute stability, and then on the sneak tip, I think Cole Anthony would be good here at 6,800. Like he's a guy that's shown he has some upside in a matchup with Detroit. I think he gets it done.
Yeah, with Franz shooting so well and Banchero playing so well, their two-man game right now is really strong, and like you're seeing a lot of correlation in points and assists for these two guys. So it's fantastic to watch as a Magic fan. So Banchero scored like 40 actual points the other night. So that was, as a Magic fan, that was a lot of fun to watch. Up next, we got Atlanta at Philadelphia. 241 total in this game. The 76ers an 8-point favorite. On the Atlanta side, Trae Young dealing with a sickness. He's questionable. Philadelphia side, they're good to go. Let's start with Atlanta. If no Trae Young, DeJounte Murray becomes one of the top plays on the entire slate. I mean, we could start with that. What are your thoughts here on the Hawks?
Yeah, man. This should be a fast-paced game, first of all, Stevie. Like, the pace is going to be there. Once again, we've seen Trae Young out already at least once this season, and we saw DeJounte Murray just go nuclear. And I think that will be coming around the corner yet again, Stevie. At 8K, he would be an elite play here. But that would also open it up for guys like Bogdanovich. Like he would get, a few extra shots. DeAndre Hunter, Sadiq Bey is already playing. He would pick up, probably a couple extra shots. What would that do for a Kongu or Capella in the starting lineup? So I definitely think Trae being out will definitely help this lineup. We just have to hope Atlanta keeps it close enough for all of these guys to kind of get close to their ceilings. But definitely DeJounte would be probably at the top of the list for me. I like Bogdanovich. His price is up, but I think if Trae's out, he's got the upside. And then Hunter at 5,600 is definitely someone I would be ready to play.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely could see playing Trae Young if he plays in this game. But let's talk about the real play here. Joel Embiid against Atlanta. Oh, man. Coming off of we talked about if that Washington-Philly game stayed close, Embiid was going to smash. Well, guess what? It was a 5-point game, and Embiid put up 50 actual points. Like his points were just you knew he was going to have a big game if it stayed close. He had a monster game. This is another one of those games. This is a fast-paced game, little defense played. I mean, it's hard not to have interest in Embiid.
Listen, Embiid's been a monster. He's still not 12K, Stevie. I don't understand this. Like, he's still not over 12K. Stevie scored 79 fantasy points the other night, 68 before that, 71 before that, 68 before that, 64, 55. Stevie, why is he not 12K? If this was Luka, if this was Giannis, Jokic, all these, I don't understand it. So we just keep playing him. We still got plenty of meat on the bone, and I like Embiid here. And I don't think we have to play anybody else now. As Oubre starts to pick up more minutes, Stevie, if his minutes increase, I think he's going to be someone we can look at down the line. But as of right now, I can play Joel Embiid every day, and I don't have to play anybody else on this team, and I'm perfectly fine doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be really interesting with like Oubre because, I mean, some of these guys like Nicholas Batum was playing really well when Oubre went out. Nicholas Batum still ended up playing 33 minutes the other night with Oubre coming back. So that was the first game since the trade and stuff happened where that was the first time we saw Batum with Oubre on the floor. And I mean, they're going to play Batum. They're going to play some Morris. Oubre just might be out of that 30-minute role. So I think it's Embiid. And I mean, it's a good spot for like a guy like Melton. His price is increased enough where I don't know if I'll get to him. I don't know what his ceiling necessarily is. If I'm playing Melton, I'm probably not playing Embiid on that team. I wanted Melton to have a ceiling game. Washington at Brooklyn, 238 total in this game. The Nets, a 9-point favorite. On the Washington side, Davis remains out. Shamit's out. Wright is out. Gafford is questionable. On the Brooklyn side, Simmons remains out. Lonnie Walker is out again. We'll start here with Washington. Good game environment. What do you like here for the Wizards?
The Wizards are just a weird team for me right now, man. Like I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, but I will say this: Jordan Poole at 6,700. Like I'll consider it. I think he's cheap enough. Trey Jones at 5,700 is just kind of blah. Daniel Gafford, I know he's questionable. If he's in play, if he plays, Stevie, he's in play. He's actually probably the best out of this whole collection of players. I think Kuzma's priced up a little bit too much. Poole at 67, I think is still okay. I know he's been very inconsistent, but he's still got the upside, Stevie. I mean, we've seen him, Milwaukee got up to 42 points, like 42 fantasy points, 39 the night before that. He gets anywhere near 40, 38, 40, like that's perfectly fine at 6,700. So I don't hate Poole, but Gafford is probably the best play if he plays.
Yeah, and if he sits, I think Gallinari would be the guy that benefits the most. As crazy as that sounds, just looking at like their center rotation and like big man rotation, maybe Baldwin Jr., but I don't think you can love that. I thought Pittsburgh almost had a pick six there. That would have been great for Pittsburgh ownership. On the Brooklyn side, this is a phenomenal spot for Bridges. He's a guy that is definitely like you could load up on like two or three of these like 8K range guys on this slate instead of like paying up for like one or two studs. So I really like this spot for him. Claxton, I think this is another spot that Claxton could have a really good game. He's 6,600. His minutes look like they're a little bit more secure. Brooklyn's rotation is starting to finally form, I feel like. What do you like here for the Nets?
Well, Cam Thomas let us down big time, Stevie. Who wants to go back to Cam Thomas today? I sure do. At 7,300 against Washington, I'll absolutely roll him out in tournaments. I think the whole world's mad at Cam Thomas right now with that stupid performance he put up, but it's okay. Like this is why we play the game. I don't hate Claxton at 6,100. I think it's fine. But generally speaking, like I'm not too thrilled about Brooklyn. I feel like all the prices are right, and maybe you play a little bit of Dinwiddie and hope to get another ceiling game from him. But like I said, I think everybody's price right on Brooklyn.
It'd be a really tough game for the Pelicans when LeBron and Taurean Prince are both hitting threes. That's all I'm saying. Knicks and Celtics, 219.5 total here. Celtics a 6.5 point. Yeah, 6.5 point favorite. On the Knicks side, no one to note on the injury report. Porzingis probable. So it looks like both teams going to be really close to full strength in this game. What are your thoughts here on the Knicks?
I don't like this game, Stevie. I don't think I'm going to play anyone from this game. I feel like good defense on both sides, not really an incredible pace. Both games at full strength. Both teams, at full strength. This just doesn't feel like the game to target to me, Stevie. I'm going to pass on this game, like just in general.
Yeah, this game is not sexy at all, DFS-wise, betting-wise. Two good defensive teams, two teams that don't play incredibly fast. Knicks are 29th in pace, and Boston's 21st in pace. And like I said, Boston ranks second in defensive rating, and the Knicks are seventh. So, yeah, I'm with you. Overall, I don't love this game. The only thing that I could see doing here is like a Brunson Tatum stack and just hoping like the two superstars on both teams have a game and you get a back and forth, really high scoring type of matchup with the two studs just doing their thing.
Yeah.
Like Jason Tatum should be in consideration in large field tournaments every slate, just because like he is that good at basketball. Very talented player. Anything else that you wanted to mention here? Or are we moving on?
Let's move on, man. This game's ugly. Should be a good real life game, but fantasy.
I mean, this next game's not much better. We got a Cleveland at Miami game, 218.5 total. The Cavs, a 1-point favorite in this one. On the Cleveland side, LeVert is out. Mobley is questionable. So 2 big names there to watch. Bam out, Hero out, Highsmith out for Miami. We'll go Cleveland first. What do you like here for Cleveland?
So I actually don't hate Mitchell here at 9K. I think this is kind of right in the wheelhouse where he's got enough upside to blow past this. He picks up 55-ish, fantasy points. Like, I think we're feeling good. I don't hate that. LeVert's already out. I'm so sorry. Sorry about that. Garland's just okay. I think Mitchell is kind of the guy I'm most interested in here. Man, if we get Mobley out, then I feel like one of Okoro or Niang maybe picks up some extra minutes, Stevie. And Niang's already playing, around 20 minutes a game. Maybe we can get him to 30 minutes. That might be okay. Josh Allen at 6,500, like, could he go ahead and get stable at 35 minutes? I think that's something we could consider as well. So I like this. I like the spot because of the injuries, not the game itself.
Yeah, I mean, Mitchell or Garland, I think, are both playable in this spot. Max Struss going back to Miami could be interesting with LeVert out. If you get a little bit of extra motivation from him. Miami side of this game, no Bam, no Hero. I mean, I think we could look at Orlando Robinson again, 33 minutes the other night against Toronto. Had a really solid fantasy output. I think he put up like 45, 46 fantasy points. So I definitely don't mind going back to him. I hope everyone listened to me about Caleb Martin the other night. He absolutely smashed. Price increase, I think he's still worth a shot. This game is not as good as the Toronto game, but I still think this is a spot where with Bam out, Hero out, people are going to look at Butler. He's expensive. I don't mind going to like Caleb Martin or somebody else cheaper here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Caleb Martin, 59. I get it. Orlando Robinson still 5,400. Steve, if he's going to play 30 minutes, I think he's just fine. And I'm with you, like taking some of these auxiliary pieces where they're all more in the 5K range than the 9K range, I think is great. So the spot where both sides, Stevie may have some injuries, like I don't hate it.
Yeah, I mean, the value of this game is what you're attacking. Overall, it's going to be one of the lower scoring games on the slate, but the value is what you're looking at mostly here. Minnesota at Memphis, 215.5 total. Minnesota, a 6.5 point favorite. McDaniel's out for Minnesota. McLaughlin questionable. Memphis, I mean, it's the same guys. Adams, Clark, Kennard, Morant, Smart out for Memphis. Let's start with Minnesota. What do you like here for Minnesota?
I mean, in this game, Stevie, like Minnesota should run away with this thing. I actually don't hate Mike Conley. Like this is a guy, Stevie, been putting up, over 30 fantasy points in a fair amount of games and had it over 40 in one. Now, I can't remember whether or not Edwards was out of that game, but I like Conley here. It's really got a nice floor going right now at 6K. Obviously, I don't hate Anthony Edwards at 9,300. Like this is a spot where he could absolutely dominate as long as he's, getting back healthy. I don't hate Towns at 9K, but I still think his upside is capped with all of the guys there, including Anthony Edwards. But at 9K, I don't hate it in the spot against Memphis. We've seen Rudy Gobert kind of go off here a little bit as well. But at 7,400, he's always in play. This is a guy that's got, I'll call it 50-point upside, Stevie. I'm not saying he's going to get in the 60s, but he's got 50-point upside on a night-to-night basis. And at 7,400, I don't hate the price.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily love Minnesota's pricing with like Edwards back. I mean, we saw a little bit of price differences with Edwards out. So, I mean, overall, I don't have a ton of interest in Minnesota in this game. I don't mind Gobert or Conley calls. It's a 13-game slate. I think we're going to find better options.
Yeah.
Memphis side of, and we should note, like, Memphis has been really bad against wings. Like, Anthony Edwards could go off in this game. So we should note, like, might be a good scoring opportunity for Anthony Edwards today. Memphis side, I mean, Triple J, Desmond Bane, they're playing great. Don't necessarily love the matchup against Minnesota. This is one of the better defensive teams in the league. Any interest here in Memphis?
No, not today.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at too, though. Like, I mean, the pricing, the matchup, I just don't see a lot here. Sure. Could you take shots on Bane? Yeah. Could you take shots on Triple J? Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's where you're looking at if you're taking shots on Memphis is just the high end guys. Maybe I'm missing something or overlooking something, but I don't think so. Golden State at OKC, 235.5 total here. Thunder, a 4-point favorite in this game. Gary Payton's out. That's the only injury that we're looking at here night before. Warriors, I mean, they played a really competitive game against Portland the other night. That was very interesting. Did not see that coming. Chris Paul came back. He only played 20 minutes in that game. They obviously eased him back a little bit. It's just the Warriors are a mess right now. They're just all producing and no one's hitting ceilings. So what are your thoughts here when it comes to Golden State?
I think right now, Steve, the only person you're playing is Curry.
I don't know if we can play him on this slate with all the
no. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get it. But I'm saying right now he's the only person that's hitting any type of real ceiling, though. I mean, he still can get you in the 50s. Will that help you on this slate? Maybe, maybe not. But like I'm saying, in this spot, he's the only person I would even roughly consider playing.
Yeah, I mean, Steph is just him and Clay. When they get hot, man, they can just shoot out the gym. It's just like Clay really just hasn't had that game. Like he hasn't had that like monster game that like we're so used to him having, like that 7-8 3-point type game. I think the most he's had in one game this season is 6, and he still only scored like 23 points in that game. So like Clay hasn't had that like ceiling spot yet. On the Thunder side, I mean, SGA, if you want to pay up to be contrarian, I think that he has some solid upside in this spot. I think Holmgren is a fantastic play. He's averaging 47 fantasy points in 3 meetings against Golden State already this season. They played each other a lot. He had 64 fantasy points the last time these two teams met. I really like this spot for him. He has the upside. He has ceiling. He's been playing great. He's the guy that I think I want to attack here. But, I mean, you still got Jalen Williams, and, I mean, there's so many other pieces here as well.
Yeah, you look at OKC, man, and this guy, Stevie, of course, we don't have to sell you, but, I mean, SJ's just got real ceiling, man, in terms of just his scoring. Like, he's got real ceiling, Stevie. So I don't hate him in this spot. Like, we got Chet, and Chet's 7,700, and we'll see him pop from time to time. Like maybe he's okay at 7,700. You talked about Jalen Williams. Like I don't hate him. He'll pop from time to time as well. And I think those are the 3 that I would be most interested in. Josh Giddey, he's kind of the guy that's just kind of phased out of this offense, Steve, in terms of upside and consistency. Like he's not playing big minutes, and I can't play him.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Williams is playing such good basketball that it's really just hurt Josh Giddey's like overall ceiling. So, I mean, for me on the Thunder, it's SGA. Just this guy is so good in general.
Yeah.
Chicago at San Antonio, 225.5 total here. The Bulls are a 2.5-point favorites. Caruso probable, Levine out. And then on the Spurs side, they're good to go. No one on the injury report here night before. No Zach Levine. Kobe White now 7,100, but draws a phenomenal matchup against San Antonio. Vooch, DeRozan, White. Pick your poison here for Chicago.
Yeah, man. I don't hate DeRozan. Like, he's a guy right now, as long as Levine is out, I don't hate it. Same thing for Vooch. You know, these two guys should be leading the charge. Now, Kobe White is a guy, Steve, that's also, he's been playing huge minutes, putting up about 40 fantasy points a game. I don't think Kobe White gets a whole lot of attention in this spot. I like him a ton, Stevie, to really get rolling here. So those are my handful of guys. I know Patrick Williams has been playing minutes as well. You know, he's only 5,200, so I don't hate it, Stevie, as long as he's going to get the minutes.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with Patrick Williams is he's the best player in the NBA at standing in the corner. I mean, just saying. He does a really good job of that. All right, San Antonio side of this game, I mean, we know Wemby has the ceiling of like putting up these 60-plus point games. He's going to be inconsistent all season. He's very young, very raw. I think Keldon Johnson has a little bit of upside in this spot, and I don't necessarily hate the price on Vassell here at 6,400.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I mean, like you said, I'm going to go back to Wemby for a second because we will see some games. Like, he's popped against Denver. Absolutely, of course, popped against Atlanta in one of those games. Minnesota didn't pop, which makes tons of sense to me. So I don't hate that. I don't mind Wemby here against Chicago for what it's worth. You talked about Devin Vassell. He's 6,400. I like that price on him as well. As long as his minutes can get back to 30, 32 minutes, I feel much better. We've got Jeremy Sochan, where his minutes seem to be stable. I don't mind him at 5,700. And then down the line here, Stevie, you talked about Keldon Johnson at 73. He's the other person that seems to be, let's call it committed. They seem to be committed to playing him minutes, Stevie. He's playing in the 30s every night. So I don't mind Keldon.
Houston at Denver. 218.5 total in this game. The Denver Nuggets. I almost said Denver Rockets. The Nuggets, 7.5 point favorite in this game. Oladipo remains out. That's really it for Houston. And then Jamal Murray is probable. So pretty healthy Denver team. Let's go Houston first. Any interest here in the Rockets?
No.
Yeah, I mean, for a 13-game slate, I feel like there's a couple spots that I just don't necessarily love, just in general. I mean, Jamari Smith, he's been consistent. Sengun has ceiling. Could Sengun mash in this spot? Yeah. I mean, they've played each other already 3 times this season, so we have a little bit of sample to go off of. He's averaging 47 points. It's just 47 is really close to being not enough at 9,100 on a 13-game slate. So I think I'm with you overall. I mean, just not a ton that I'm seeing here upside-wise. And then on the Denver side, I mean, Jokic, just any game that is close, Jokic can just smash. So what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, mainly just Jokic for me, Stevie. Like, that's the theme of the Denver Nuggets. I don't really have to play anyone else. And as Jamal Murray continues to come back and get integrated, I may even slow down my Jokic share. So this is going to be on paper, Stevie, just, based on defensive efficiency and pace, this should be a fairly, let's call it, slower pace game than what we want for fantasy, and definitely should be a pretty good defensive game as well. So I'm just not thrilled because of the pricing. Like, if Van Vliet's 7,400, I'm interested. You know what I mean? If Sengun is 8K, I'm probably way more interested. But at these prices, I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel you. Sacramento at Phoenix. This game has a 232.5 total. The Kings, a 1.5-point favorite. Grayson Allen, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Damian Lee out for Phoenix. Duarte questionable, Alex Lynn out for the Kings. This game is just phenomenal, and we'll talk about it in a second on the Phoenix side. But yeah, we're going to have interest in the Phoenix side. No doubt about it. Let's talk about what we're looking at potentially running it back with Sacramento. De'Aaron Fox, we know he can go for 60+. The defense is going to be a little bit more watered down here in this matchup for Phoenix. I think he's worth, at least mentioning. Malik Monk has been playing really well here recently. Sabonis has that, upside. He has the ceiling. It's so hit or miss, it feels like.
Yeah, but Stevie, we're starting to get him under a 10K now. I don't mind playing him. And I know he's just slightly into 10K. I don't mind it. And as an aside from Malik Monk, wow, you get out of Charlotte and you just rebrand your whole career. He's in Charlotte. Anyway, I'm not going to go there.
We see that from time to time.
Yeah. Obviously, De'Aaron Fox, I don't have to sell you on De'Aaron Fox. But I do think Sabonis has some value here, Stevie, at 9,800. I don't think he has more raw upside than Fox, but I think he's got some true upside in this spot here tonight. So I like him a ton.
All right, talk to me. What are your first initial thoughts here on the Phoenix situation?
If this game stays close, Devin Booker's going for 70. Even at 10K, Stevie, he's going to be doing it all. Ironically, Eric Gordon, Stevie, will probably take between 15 and 20 shots in this game. I actually don't hate him at 6,300. It's more expensive than I want to pay, but the situation may lend itself to be okay. And then, of course, you got Nurkic here at 72, Stevie, and I think he's probably going to get 30 minutes in this game. We've seen him put up some nice performances. No KD, I think, will help him, really, really get going in terms of upside. I'm not sure how they're going to handle Keita Bates-Diop. Maybe he plays. I'm almost certain Josh Okogie's going to play 30 minutes. So at 4,900, I don't hate him. We'll probably get some Goodwin, but he's 5,200 now, Stevie. He plays 25 minutes. I don't hate him either.
Yeah, really like this spot for Okagie. The minutes should be pretty secure. I think Jordan Goodwin has upside. It doesn't always show, but I think he has a little upside. I think Okagie is the guy. Eric Gordon is fine, but don't let me bury the lead. This is a Devin Booker spot. This is a guy. He has to be up towards the top of the list today. He's averaging 1.56 fantasy points per minute with Grayson Allen, Durant, and Beal off the floor in 114 minutes this season. 1.56 fantasy points per minute. Yeah. It's like Jokic, Luka, Embiid type numbers. So really like this spot for Booker. This game should be uber competitive with a lot of scoring. The
and they're at home great. Too, which should also help.
Which is always great. So definitely jumping on Booker in this Phoenix side with these guys being out. LA Clippers at Utah, 225.5 total here. Clippers a 6.5-point favorite in this one. Plumlee, Boston Jr. remain out. Clarkson questionable. Markkanen out. Olynyk questionable for Utah. And really quick, I feel like Phoenix is like, hey, we're going to take this couple days and give these guys a day or two.
Man, Stevie, you're saying that. I wouldn't be shocked if Devin Booker's questionable tomorrow.
We open up the slate and yeah.
Because, he's been laboring a little bit. He's had some nicks. You
don't play again until Monday. It's the perfect opportunity to give your guys a few extra days. They just had an intense game the other night, so. Yeah. Clippers side here first. What do you like here for LA?
Don't hate Harden at 7,900 as long as he's going to keep getting 30+ minutes, Stevie. Paul George has kind of been a guy that I felt like was stable, but I don't. The other thing now, Steve, is the only person I feel like is priced to where you can take shots is James Harden. Kawhi's at 8K. I just don't think he has pure upside game to game right now. So that's kind of it for me. This team, they're playing a fair amount of bodies. Maybe you want to consider Zubac at 5,500, but good luck. Is he going to get 30 minutes? Is he going to get 26 minutes? Is he going to get 25 minutes, 23 minutes? I don't know. He's probably closer to 25 than 23, but I don't think he's a necessary player on this slate. So it's kind of just James Harden. I almost hate saying that.
I would rank them Harden, George, Kawhi, Zubac, Westbrook is how I would rank the Clippers here. I'd actually rank Zubac ahead of Russ. Russ's minutes have just kind of disappeared.
Oh, man. And it sucks, too. He was playing fine.
Yeah, but they weren't winning. They put Russ on the bench. I just feel like it's a chemistry thing with Russell Westbrook. And, he's accepted this role. He's going out. He's getting rebounds. He's scoring with that second unit. I mean, maybe Russ is really like a 20 to 22-minute guy off the bench, 6-man type role. And that's what he needs to be. Don't put him out there with don't put him out there with any other superstar. Let him ball hog the second unit and let him do his thing. And I mean, maybe that's what he needs. And they're winning games, so you can't really argue with what they're doing right now. Zubac is someone that I don't necessarily hate. Daniel Tice has been getting 20 minutes a night. He's really interesting at 4,100 for this matchup against Utah if you want to live on the edge a little bit. Let's go to the Jazz side. No marketing. Clarkson questionable. So if Clarkson comes back, he would be very interesting in this spot. But honestly, I don't necessarily love the pricing on Keontae George. John Collins is 7K. His minutes are all over the place. They got absolutely ran out of the gym the other night by Dallas. What was it, 40, 50-point game or something? It was wild. Luka played the fourth quarter in a close game, Luka would have scored 100 fantasy points. Talk to me here. What do you like for Utah?
Well, let's see if kind of how they handle Clarkson. He's 7,500. I think he's reasonably okay if he comes back. Do we get a little Walker Kessler at 6,200? Maybe, but I'd prefer him to be playing stable minutes. Outside of that, Stevie, the only other person I think I trust is Colin Sexton. And I don't even think I want to play him in this spot against the Clippers. So I'm kind of out on this team.
I worry about this game just staying close. The Clippers are a much better team than the Jazz. Markkanen being out, Clarkson banged up. I don't even know if there's value with Utah because all the pricing of these guys got priced up. So I don't have a ton of interest. I feel like this game environment is probably better. Better game environment than that Cleveland-Miami game, but I think the value is better in that Cleveland-Miami game.
Yeah.
All right. Finish it out with Dallas at Portland, 227 total. The Mavericks an 8-point favorite in this one. Cleveland and Grant Williams out. Josh Green out for Dallas. Ayton doubtful. Brogdon questionable. Moses Brown questionable. Grant out for Portland. Dallas first. What do you like here for the Mavs?
Give me Luka.
He's really good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really good. I mean, I honestly, I don't hate Jones Jr., but I still think Luka is just he's still just a guy. You can get away with not having Jones Jr., but if Luka goes nuts, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Derek Jones Jr. here is we already know Grant Williams is out for this game. Had that game the other night stayed competitive, Derek Jones Jr. plays 30-plus minutes. He's been really close to a fantasy point per minute type guy here recently. So I think Derek Jones Jr. is definitely in play. Luka definitely in play. Outside of that, I don't have a ton of interest in Dallas. I I think Kyrie is a sound play. It's just I don't think Kyrie has the ceiling with Luka, where Luka, I mean, he's going to get rebounds, assists, points, everything else. On the Portland side, I mean, we talked about Simons the other night, and I told Keith that Simons was going to come back and play his normal role. He did. Played 37 minutes, took 27 shots against Golden State.
5,500 on DraftKings too.
Don't expect anything different from Simons here. He's going to shoot a ton.
Yeah, for sure. But now he's priced right back up to where he should have been before, which is closer to 7K. The value may be gone, especially if Brogdon plays. If Brogdon plays, then the upside's gone. So I don't want to take a shot. I mean, we've got Mr. Sharp here at 8,100, Stevie. Oy vey. I can't. So
now with Simons back.
Yeah, I can't do that. I mean, if Ayton's doubtful, we get Duop Reith. I mean, Reith didn't do anything crazy. He didn't hurt us. He was 3K, and he picked up, 25 fantasy points. I'm probably still okay with Duop, but I don't like the minutes, Stevie. Like 22 minutes, that really scares me at 4K. He goes out there and puts up, 15 fantasy points. I feel like I'm dead at 4K, so I'm probably going to fade Duop on this slate and live with the results.
Yeah, the difference is like that Golden State game went really small, and I was really worried about that with Duop. But I think like Dallas is still going to want to get like Lively his minutes. Like he's been consistently playing like 25-ish plus minutes a night, so that I think that helps Duop here. And I mean, Lively's not the worst matchup in the world for him, so I don't think he's a terrible value play at 4K.
Yeah.
All right, let's play the morning grind game, and then we'll get out of here for the weekend. NFL podcast was posted yesterday. If you missed that one, in-season tournaments rolling here. Lakers up 26 with 6 minutes to go in the third.
They're gonna win.
LeBron, man, LeBron wants another accolade next to his name. He's like, I got to win the first ever in-season tournament too, because I'm LeBron James and I'm.
Listen,
boss.
I mean, I get it. Like, I don't hate it, especially with him with the Jordan debate coming up all the time. It's like this is just one other feather in the cap.
Just absolutely great. All right, morning grind game. Favorite play under 5K to go 7X. Who do you got?
Man, I wish I knew whether or not these guys were going to be out, Stevie, or he was going to be out. I'm not sure. But we do know this guy's going to be out, or they're going to have some guys out. Give me Josh Okogie at 4,900.
Knew you were going to take my guy. And like right when you started like talking, I knew you were going to take my guy. Do you need Diop Reith at 4K?
I was going to go Nick Richards, but we don't have that news.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, I wrote down, I have a ton of interest in Josh Okogie today. Yeah. All right. Over 8K to go under 5X. Who's your bust today?
Give me Desmond Bane.
Yeah, I don't hate that one. Man, this question's tough today. I think a lot of these guys have the upside to overall get there. I'm going to go Steph. I don't hate it, like playing Steph here, but I mean, looking at like this price range and who's in this price range, like probably just don't get to Steph today.
Yeah.
Favorite 6X play? Who do you got?
Give me, and this is a guy I talked about earlier, talked about liking him a ton. Give me Kobe White at 7,100.
All right. Yeah, I can get behind that. I'm going to go to Simons. We just talked about him. Took a gazillion shots the other night. This guy is going to be 8 to 9K in like a week. And it might even happen like really early in the week. So, yeah, I like Simons a lot in this spot.
Yeah.
Let's get weird. GPP play of the day. What do you got for us?
I'm going back to the well, man. Give me Cam Thomas at 7,300 against Washington.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I mean, do you think Bridges is going to be chalky?
Mikal?
Yeah.
Nah, he shouldn't. He's over 8K on a big slate.
He's 8,700.
Yeah.
He is going to smash today. I don't even know if he's a let's get weird. Like, I usually go way off the board, but give me Bridges. I love this spot for him today. We don't have a ton of props out. I was kind of sad. I was just looking again. I looked on Hard Rock and I looked on Prize Picks and Underdog. There's not a lot of pick'em stuff, or there's not a lot of stuff up right now. It kind of stinks, but so we'll skip this question today. Will, any final thoughts before we send it off for the weekend?
Nah, man. Everybody enjoy your weekend. Stevie, you enjoy your weekend, and let's have a great in-season tournament finale on Saturday. Hopefully, I can watch that game. This is going to be fun, Steve. It's like a championship before. Get it before the All-Star break. Then you get the championship in the summer. Kudos to the NBA for getting this right.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's been phenomenal to watch. Just in general, I mean, I think it's going to be tough to stop the Lakers when they're playing like this. Good luck trying to stop them right now. So, I was looking like pre-podcast to see like what the Lakers were like for season long and like what they were for like championship, and not what I wanted to see. But all right, we're gonna get out of here. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. We'll be back Monday talking basketball. If you haven't already, subscribe to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind on YouTube. We're trying to get to 1,000 before the end of the year. We're going to fall short unless you tell everybody you know to hit the subscribe button. Help us out. We'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend.